Flaws and all, womanhood, sisterhood, and traveling through the worst hood, adulthood. Conversation from a woman's point of view. This is the S.I.S Podcast.
Hey, sis.
Hey, sis.
Welcome back to another episode. Now, this episode, y'all get a real special edition because it's Where All the Real Aunties At? Can you please stand up?
Right here, right here, right here.
So, for this episode, your host, Gini, is me. And we have...
Everybody's favorite TT. And that's who this episode is about. The TTs.
Oh, Lord. And you got Fee. Rich auntie vibes.
We love a rich auntie. Okay.
Right. Rich auntie.
Love the rich aunties. All right, so let's get into it, aunties, TTs. I mean, whatever you would like to prefer to go by as an auntie. What are some things that you feel like sets the standards of being a real auntie?
So, well, first, let me not be biased, right? Because if your sibling has a child, you are an auntie, right?
Biologically.
Biologically, you know, or not even biologically, step, marriage, what may have you. It still classifies you.
That's still biological.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But it's still, you know, it qualifies you as an auntie. But being a real auntie is, to me, in my opinion, is kind of being like a surrogate parent, a second mom, right? Or a second dad, if you're one of them real uncles. You know, you're very present in the child's life. You're there on a regular basis. They know you. You have regular interactions. There's a time commitment, financial commitment. There's intentionality on having that relationship with that child, whether it be a niece or nephew.
Yeah. What about you, Fee?
So first, I just want to say that in a Black community, everybody your auntie. So
and that goes and that transcends not just Black, but like African as well, Caribbean.
Yeah.
Like, but you know what? Funny enough, I think also Indian.
Yeah,
because
probably.
That's how
Indian,
they call.
you talking about the red dots or like Native American?
I'm talking about like Indian, Asia, Indian.
Oh yeah, the red dots.
Okay.
That's how you got.
Okay.
You gotta be in
the
America.
Indians now. Okay. Anyway, I know Indian. Like they literally address like their mom's friends, their girlfriends.
Yeah, auntie. Right. So, and I think what auntie to me, what that word even means is like someone who you can depend on.
Yeah.
It's someone who's gonna come through in a clutch.
Yeah.
It's someone that your mama may not agree with, but auntie gonna make sure it happens.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so I think the connotation of the word auntie or TT is, it means just reliable. Like it means dependable. It means loving. It means like the person that you can talk to that you know is not gonna judge you. Cause it's just something about aunties that we listen and we don't judge.
And, you know, and the key word, honestly, for me is safe.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
You as a parent feel safe with your children around them.
Absolutely.
And then your children should feel also safe with them.
Right. And like I said, growing up in a Black community, like my neighbors was auntie, you know, and even as I'm looking, you know, I'm an church family. I'm an educator. So now I've reached auntie status, child. You know.
I am a TT, but the whole auntie status thing, I
Child. Because of the connotation of the word auntie, it brings respect.
On me,
it brings respect. So when these young guys come in the classroom, what's up, auntie? You know, whatever the case is, it's just like, I know it's a level of respect that you have for your aunt.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't take offense to it. I actually love the word, whether it's TT, whether it's auntie, and I love being a real auntie to my biological, you know, family members. So yeah.
Yeah. 100%. So what did, like, when you became, like, becoming an auntie, what did supporting that mom look like?
Well, you know, you got a lot to say. Go ahead.
And not just the biological
Yeah.
mom, but like the ones who are like, oh, this is my close friend. This is my
for
this
sure.
is my
Yeah.
line sister. This is my you know what I'm saying. What does auntie look like? What does the supporting person look like?
I think for me, to be quite honest, if we talking about real aunties, I kind of been a real auntie for a long time.
You have.
For a long time.
Even to my kids, for sure.
Yes, that too. But even before then, in high school, I was the church babysitter. So, you know, I babysat all the kids.
Yeah, but they don't call you auntie
grew-
though.
Huh?
They don't call you auntie though.
No, I was way too young. I was
Yeah.
a teenager. That would have been weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
But they probably called your cousin because that's
You
what we
know,
do now.
But you know, I really, you know, but I was intentional when I took care of those kids. When I looked after those kids, I was, you know, always made sure that I was dependable, you know, and that the parents felt safe.
Yeah.
You know, with me, with their kids. I did their hair. I bathed them. You know what I'm saying? We would do school stuff together. I would read with them, do math, and all of them. I would talk to them, you know, as they were kids. And, you know, even through, you know, periodically until I left for college and then,
Yeah.
you
Right.
know, things changed. But I think even that being an older sibling, you know, even prepared me for that because my youngest sister at the time, we are 13 years apart, you know? So like that whole experience just kind of like put me in that mindset, in that space of just like being responsible, you know, for other kids. And then getting to college, now I got line sisters, I got friends that got kids, you know, my line sister's kid, her kids, you know, those is my baby. I call them my chocolates because they just the cutest little chocolate babies. I call them my chocolates. And I think being the support system is understanding that what I learned from that is being a parent is hard. Like it's not just the financial aspect. It's not just the taking care, you know, their growth and development, getting them back and forth between their extracurricular activities. You know, you gotta work and stuff. Who's at home just making sure that they that they eat, they go to bed, they got, you know what I mean? Just basically like being a parent is hard. It's so many different things that are happening. And you really need a village.
Yeah.
So being that support system is understanding that you are a part of that village and you are signing up to be a part of the village and be a present person in this child's life. One thing that I always told myself is that if ever anybody felt safe enough, right, for me to be around their child, I wasn't going to be an in and out person.
Yeah.
You know, because I didn't like that as a child.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, having people that were in and out that just, they may have been here, don't really know them, don't really. When I became a godmother, I said I was not going to be a godmother where my godchildren didn't know who I was. They were going to know
Yeah.
who I was. I was going to have a relationship, an active relationship with them.
Right.
So it's not, I won't say it's a for the faint of heart because it's a commitment. It's definitely a commitment. It's definitely a sacrifice, right? Because it means that not all the time, you know what I mean? I'm out here being, you know, rich auntie doing whatever. Sometimes like it's all right, this is what this child needs. That is a priority.
Yeah, and I think also like just emotional support, being there for the mom in that way.
Yeah.
Because of course pregnancy is crazy. So being there for them during that time, but also when the baby arrives, like being able to take the load off of mom who is already trying to like remix her life.
Yeah.
You know, I know with my niece and my nephews, like I love them to life. As a matter of fact, my niece, she's coming up this weekend, well, this upcoming week because she's on spring break, and that's to give parents a break.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? And I know at one point we had a whole system when it came down to our kids. It was the best thing to me. In the summers, we would rotate the kids around.
Oh, I
so
love
what that looks like is everybody's kids. Like all my brother kids, my sister kids, and my kids, we would all take a week.
I love that.
So all the kids would come to my house for a week, which gave you a break for a week, gave you a break for a week.
Yep.
Then we rotate them out to your house. Now I got a break. You still on break.
Yep.
You know, and then it
Everybody
rotates.
gets like a 2-week break.
Absolutely. Oh, but we threw my mom and them in there too because they thought they was getting away, baby. You made us.
Yeah.
We made them. You know, so we literally had like and it allowed our kids to grow up together, to be very close with each other. They look forward to it. Each of us was trying to outdo the other siblings. So it was just like, okay, well, I'm gonna take them camping, and then I'm gonna take them. Oh, I know when we get to Fee House, then we know we going to Six Flags. She gonna make sure we go out to a fancy restaurant because I was the one that was gonna do like that.
Top tier.
Yeah,
right.
top tier.
Give you an experience.
Top tier.
Yes.
Where my brother, on the other hand, he was a down and dirty. They were going to have so much fun in his house because they knew that they could just do whatever.
No rule.
It ain't no rule.
It's lawless.
Exactly. He teach them how to shoot guns.
Yes.
He taking them on boats. Like they shooting at dogs. I'm just like, and then they come back to me and they just like
Peter.
Right. But listen, they had a blast. In each experience, it curated something different for them that's going to last with them for a lifetime. And that's what I can say the real impact of aunties and uncles is.
Yeah.
They know that they can go to them no matter what. And it's just like, look, my mama may not be listening to me about this, but this is what I'm going through. Like creating that comfortability with the kids and with them, I think is like the most rewarding thing ever. Like for real, for real.
I think also in that when you have that time and you are that support system and you dedicate, being so intentional and creating that experience and being the open, it's like being a mom, but without the whole structure and discipline of being a mom. You know what I mean? You get to be,
for one, you get to give them back.
Yeah.
You get to give them back.
That's
so you can love on them real long.
Real good.
You can borrow them, love
And then give
on
them
them,
back.
spoil them,
Yep.
and send them right back on their way when you're tired. But being able to be, have that influence, have that relationship, be that dependable. It's like having, it's for the child. It's like having an additional best friend, like a mom best friend, right? Where you get that same loving, that same nurturing, that same, feel of mom without the discipline, without the fear of retribution, without the fear of.
But that's. I think that can be subjective depending on the type of mom versus the type of auntie you are. Because, for example, with Tio and Shefe, I'm the disciplinarian auntie because mommy is free for all. So it's like, but it's discipline with, they love Auntie Jenny though. Because
it is.
And they feel the love. Like I love
That's because you build a great rapport with them for them to know that they are safe. And I can say that although I won't say that I'm the fun auntie, like, because I'm not. They know I'm all about structure.
Yes.
We're going to get the education.
Exactly.
We're going da-da-da-da. But
we still going to have a good time.
But that's what they sometimes yearn for because of the structure, the type of structure that my siblings may have for them.
Yep.
You get what I'm saying? So I think they actually looked forward to like, oh, well, I know she going to have us together.
Yeah.
Because I was.
Yeah.
Each and every time. Even when they came over, like during the summers, I had a whole schedule, da-da-da. Meanwhile, they had just been living wild and free, Okay.
Like Tio will tell you that, like, I'm his favorite auntie. Like, and
because kids really do love structure, though. They really love structure. They need structure. Because if you think about it, they're in school systems from the time that they're basically 3 years old. Okay, and guess what school systems have? Structure. So they yearn for structure.
He know what he gonna get at what time because
Exactly.
he know that with Auntie Jen, you got to ask for things. She'll give it to you, but you just can't just be.
Yeah, you
out here
can't just
doing
run
what
up,
it
get
is.
done up.
Nah, don't just be opening my refrigerator.
Okay, that whole part.
Yeah, but it's like, but I'll also go, let's go on a date night.
Yeah.
Where you want to go?
Absolutely.
Let me take you there. Let's have an experience. You know, like that type of stuff.
Yeah.
And so I am not the.
Kids do need boundaries.
Yeah.
They do. They need boundaries. They need,
And it teach them how to have healthy boundaries. Like without it, you know, and I think from the lens of an auntie is you can see some things that your siblings may be a little too blind to see at the moment. And sometimes they're not ready for the correction either.
Yeah.
You know, but you can begin to implement those things in the relationships that you have, you know, without overstepping the boundaries.
Exactly.
Because I think that's an important thing is to not overstep the boundaries of mom
and
or
I think
dad.
when mom and dad trust and respect you,
They know it's
allow
for the
you
good.
to like, because I be checking them in front of their parents. Because like if I feel like, who you talking to?
Right.
You're not gonna talk to my cousin like that.
Right.
Like get it together. And they be sitting back like, you don't talk to me like that.
Right. That part.
You know, and they be like, oh yeah, no, we big on respect.
Yeah.
So let's try again.
But I think also when you have that rapport and that trust, right? It's like you don't have to necessarily do the disciplinary action on, you know, a regular basis, but they also know that once you do, they know, hey, this is, you know, for real, this is what it is. But I also think like the great thing about being a real auntie is as you were saying, like piggyback, you being able to see, you know, things that, you know, they may not necessarily be ready for correction, but not only just on the child side, on the parent side, right? There can be a juggle with that because parents are, you know, you're the parent, you're doing multiple things, but sometimes I think just as being human, you miss certain things. You don't catch certain things. Like you may not realize, because you're a person too, as a parent, you may not realize how you do things, how you have phrased certain things, how it may, you know what I'm saying, your blind spots where you may not realize how that has affected the child or the impact it'll have to the child. And the auntie comes in and says, all right, this is okay, let's rein this back in to let you know this is what is happening. This is how it is actually impacting this child because that child feels safe enough to come to you, right? And share how they're really feeling, knowing that they need it. You'll be an advocate for him, for them. I think also being an auntie is also being an advocate for that baby, for that child, just as much as you be an advocate for the parent. Because sometimes the child be doing too much and be like, hey,
listen, you're not about to treat my brother and my sister like that.
You know what I'm saying? You ain't about to do my sister
you're getting a little disrespectful.
Exactly.
Listen,
Yeah,
I love you, but I will slap taste out your mouth. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's still my sister. You know?
Right.
So I think that there's also understanding, you know, in that sometimes you stand in the gap where there's blind spots, and that's necessary for all productive growth. I think for all kids. Yeah.
So I know you talked about like, oh, y'all did the whole summer switching thing, or whatever with your kids. But what are some ways, like other different ways that you feel like you connect with your nieces and nephews?
So there was one point where my nephew actually had to come and live with me.
Okay.
And honestly, I think that was probably, I think it was a good option, you know, for him to come and stay. And in my family, as a matter of fact, we've been extended that option before. Like when I was 14, right before I even got pregnant with Janiyah, my aunt, she asked me to come and live with her in Boston, you know.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it really would have been I don't know where like I would be today in terms of like who I would really be if I didn't go through what I went through. But I can definitely say I would have probably had a whole different outlook on education had I went and lived with her, because she was already studying at, you know, doing some things with Harvard and doing some, you know, like all these different things. And she was so like into education and stuff, where I end up being a first generation college student, end up being the first person in my family to graduate high school. Wow. You know, because pretty much everyone else had gotten GEDs and So, you know, to have that guidance, I think would have been a little bit different for me. Like I said, I had my nephew for a year. And at first he thought it was going to be like the best thing. Like, ooh, auntie gonna make sure I'm da-da-da.
But now you in mommy mode. Yeah.
Little did he know.
Yeah.
You know, things had changed very swiftly. Now, did I keep him clean? Abso-freaking-lutely. Because you gonna keep the look up, baby. So you're gonna look good. However, like what you thought you was gonna get away with and you thought I wasn't gonna be checking on you, he went to my same school that I was teaching at the middle school. I kept a good eye on that one. You get what I'm saying? And I had to implement like a lot of different things. And I think during that time, he realized that, you know, on the outside, everything looks sweet.
Yeah.
But when you live with
when
me,
it's that every day,
when it's that every day, clean up your room, this, that, and the third, you know, and it wasn't until he actually left back that he was just like, auntie, why you ain't take me on all the trips y'all was going on? I said, baby, because it's expensive. You added a whole nother mouth. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. So where you saw the lavish life thinking that we was going to be taking you all these places, in real life, you just added on a whole different thing. Not that I didn't mind.
Right.
You know, I had made him very comfortable, very accommodating. And even now, that is still my baby. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. Because I watched him grow and matriculate and graduate high school. And, you know, now he's in that space where I still see him as my Jody. Yeah. Jody, my Jody. That's his name for Josiah. And I'm just like, I still see him as my Jody. Yeah. You know, and no matter how old he gets, because I think he's like 22 now, no matter how old he gets, like I'm always going to have that 7th grade Josiah, that 7th grade Jody that I took care of. Yeah. And we'll always have that relationship. And he know that.
I love that.
Like my sister she can call me right now. She'd be like, oh, I'm on the phone with your favorite auntie. He'll say, oh, what's up, aunt? And he already know who she talking about because it's only me.
Period.
It's only me.
Period. When you the favorite TT, that's what it is.
All right.
Period. I think, like, for me, so I'll say, like, when my sister had, you know, Iman, because Juwan wasn't here, I really had to be, like, surrogate baby daddy. So, you know, I was there through, you know, the pregnancy, and then when she had him, I was there the day and night. So I know them first 6 weeks are rough. Yeah. Okay, like, it'd be nice, you know, to give her a break and he just be up and I'm crying and he crying and it's 3 a.m. and we just looking at each other and I'm holding him and I'm staring at him. We staring at each other.
Not
crying.
that I cried, you cried, we cried
like,
together.
Like, please go to sleep, you know? But, you know, I participated in raising him and being there and nurturing him and taking care of him, you know, through, you know, all things. And it builds and establishes a very solid relationship where, like, you know, it's almost like I'm a second mom.
Yeah. And they kind of see it that way because especially how frequently, you know, like with my brother's kids, I don't see them very frequently. Okay. You know, but I have still developed that very close relationship. When you're maternal and paternal.
Yeah, maternal and paternal.
It is.
It's different. It's very different because, like,
because the mother really controls the amount of
the time,
exposure.
Exactly.
Yeah. When it's maternal.
I'm like, because, you know, I have TT mornings with, you know, my nephew. I take him to school every morning. Like, you know, we spend every morning together. Like, and, you know, I was just saying, I'm like, because I wasn't with him last week and I was like, I miss my nephew. I miss that time. I miss seeing him, talking to him, laughing with him. We having our morning car karaoke in the morning. I taught he had on all whites. And so I played Nelly Air Force Ones. And we were here singing Air Force Ones all the way to school. Granted, I also got Ninja Turtles coming out of mine. You know what I'm saying?
That part.
As well. But I think, like, building that relationship just on a daily basis, even now with my niece, you know, Nunu, and her coming and being there, like one of the first people to hold her as soon as she came into the world. Right. Having that established relationship, it's different.
It is.
Right. And it's a little overwhelming sometimes. Like, it is, because you do kind of become, you know, a surrogate parent, and in that there's this overwhelming love for that child. Like, that's my chicken. That's my Nunu bug. Like, those are my babies, right? And like, legit, if you know what I'm saying, I would stand in the street and get hit by a bus over them kids, like without a second thought. You know.
Well, I'm sorry, I would have a second thought. I mean, I would pull them out of the street.
Yeah.
I just wouldn't necessarily stand
Well, I mean,
in the
because
street
you
to get
have
you.
kids.
I'm just kidding.
I think
just kidding.
But I do think it's different when you do have your own children, and then you have that, as opposed to when
You solo dolo
you don't.
auntie.
Yeah, it's just like they're all.
Yeah, but you have a heart like that anyway. Like you,
I love all my babies.
Straight adopted my kids.
Yeah, I love all my babies.
Anyone else?
I love my chocolates. I love my god babies. I'm a super guy. I love all my godchildren. I'm intentional with making sure that I'm there and present with my god babies. So I'm just kind of. I'm that TT. I'm that auntie. Like, even with my little cousins. Which you got, Shay. I'm Shay. Tio can be you can be Tio's favorite because I'm
Shay's favorite. Yeah.
You know. And that's just, I try to be intentional with how I spend time with them.
And I don't hold on. Let me
relationship.
I just want to put a disclaimer out there with favorites, Marcus favorites, especially between siblings. It's not that Tio was my favorite over Shay. I love both of them equally. It's just that Tio was my first baby. Like, because Wumi is our cousin. Like, Tio was my first legit. Like, I helped raise him. Like,
that's how it was for Jody, because he was the first like grandchild.
Something about that.
But I moved in with her.
Yeah.
And like literally took care of him, and like we switched shifts so I could give her a break. Like what Tia did for me when Iman was born, that's what I did for Wumi when Tia was born.
Right.
And so like our bond is just totally different.
Right.
I also think that for me specifically, and for all of y'all that are firstborn aunties out there, me being the firstborn as well, because even though like when I came into your life, when we became line sisters, Journey was a baby, right? Journey was Haley a baby. So I've been around Journey since he was a baby. Janiyah was 4 or 5 years old, at the time, but I still clung more to Janiyah first than Journey, even though I still love my baby Journey because he was baby Journey. He was our line baby, right? But because I'm a firstborn, right, I understand what it feels like to be a firstborn. I understand the pressure, the mindset, like all the things that most people don't think, if you're not a firstborn, you don't recognize or think about, because that pressure, that responsibility, that mindset is never put on you. Yeah. Right? Because you're just not in that sibling order, right? Sibling order is a thing. Like, you're just not in that order where things are expected of you, and it's natural for you to feel responsible, to feel overlooked, to feel responsible before you supposed to be responsible, to feel like you have to do things before you're supposed to have to do things, right? And when your siblings come into the picture, naturally attention shifts. Babies are going to take more attention because babies need more attention. Every child is different, right? You got to train and teach and raise every child differently. And the oldest, the firstborns, a lot of times tend to feel overlooked. You have all this responsibility, but you just, because you're responsible, because they're like, oh, you got it, right? I think parents tend to just know, oh, they got it, and then they shift focus to the other kids that need more attention because they feel like you're gonna be okay. You're self-sufficient, right? And then, so I'm hypersensitive to that as an auntie, and understanding that it's not that you're doing a bad job or you're doing the wrong thing as a parent. It's just understanding that firstborn still needs that relationship. They still need to feel that importance, that love, that attention, that I am deserving, right? Of that. Like, I still need that. Just because I have these siblings doesn't mean that, I just get left behind. So I think it's just, also a difference in that, because even as I love, because that's why I felt like when Gini was pregnant with Nunu, I was like, well, I don't care, y'all can share her, just give me my chicken, just keep my nephew.
And
but
now
now you know what I'm saying, I was wrong. I was dead wrong. I was dead wrong because I love my Nunu bug to life, but it's still different.
Yeah,
with Iman. Yeah.
So, what do you think are like maybe your top 2 differences between auntie and parents?
Well, I can't speak what you call it about the parenting because I ain't no parent, right?
Well, what do you feel like you do differently that like a parent would do versus what you would do?
Well,
2.
I'm the fun auntie. So, like which I probably should say no more, but I really don't necessarily believe, because I'm like, it's not my job to be a disciplinarian. Like, I'm an auntie. I know my role. You know what I'm saying? Let me auntie. You the parent. That's your role. Your role is discipline. Discipline is not my role. Okay? I've been an auntie longer than you've been a parent. Okay? I know how to be an auntie. Don't tell me how to be an auntie. God. Okay? Like, it's not my job to do the disciplinary thing. If I have to, right? If I feel like it's needed or necessary, I absolutely will, because I don't want any, ultimately I don't want my babies to come to any harm. But I was, what I'm saying, the difference is, I ain't gonna tell them no. If it's within TT's budget, you got it. If you want it, you got it.
Yeah, I think for me, when I go into auntie mode, I'm just, honestly, it's probably the same.
I was about to say.
Yeah, I think it is probably the same for me because I'm naturally like going to listen.
Yeah.
I'm very like patient, and I take all the information in first before jump into any conclusion. Although I'm very impulsive, I'm always analyzing everything. And I will hold my mule for a second too.
That's
like
Sagittarius in you?
It is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I hold it for a second. I don't have a great poker face, so you'll always know when I have a problem. But at the end of the day, like, I listen.
Yeah.
And then make my decision on how I want to respond. I'm like that as a mom. I'm like that as an aunt. I'm like that as a person.
Yeah.
And I think that that's appreciated, especially by like your niece and your nephew, because it's just like, okay, she may not talk to me right now because she's upset at what I told her, but I know that when she comes to me, she's going to come to me level-headed.
Yeah.
Or with the information that she feels that she truly does know.
Yeah.
Or whatever. So I think, that to me is no real difference in how I am, because I'm going to love on them the same, whether they mine or they not mine. The only difference, the real difference is that I can give them back.
Yeah.
So I probably will do a lot more loving on them in a short period of time, because I know that time is essential.
Yeah.
But in terms of like truly like a big difference.
That's a good way to put it, because it is limited time.
Yeah, it is limited time. So it's kind of like you overload your love.
Yep.
So they're feeling all of it, and that's why they leave on this high of auntie vibes.
Yep.
But if auntie had to stretch that thing out, like I had to stretch that love out for that year with my nephew,
you gonna get
that
it like
love
my
felt
child.
a little different. It didn't feel like the same, I'm here with you for a weekend or for a week, type of love.
Yeah,
So.
I feel like sometimes, like as a parent, it can feel like when like the parents and like the cousins are together, it can feel like mommy's like being more nice to my cousin than she is to me or whatever like that. Not realizing that it's not that I'm necessarily more nice in the moment. It's just that this is just that. It's just a moment. And you don't want to cloud that moment with the I'm always in mom mode with you.
Right.
Type of thing. But I do try to ensure that I still give them both kind of like that love and affection and attention, and but still kind of the boundaries. Let's make sure y'all don't overdo it now or whatever like that. But just like you said, the listening when they get in trouble in school. I heard that T.O. got in trouble in school or whatever. So I'll go, T.O., come here. Tell me what happened. Like, what you did. All right, let's talk.
You just like the tea.
No, but I want him
That's
to know.
where you get TT from. Hello.
But no, so that he understands that, like, I know when your parents probably heard about it, they just went the hell in.
Yeah.
But like, that there's somebody
that you're actually going, that's going to listen.
That's going to be like, no, tell me what happened.
Yeah.
So even if it's like, just like Tiwa has said, that you can go in the background like, y'all, y'all ain't got to be that hard on it.
Right.
Right.
This is really what
That's the
happened.
advocating
You know,
part.
it ain't. You know, it ain't really as deep as they trying to make it seem like.
Exactly.
Or like even just bouncing ideas off with the parents. When the parents, can you believe? And then you kind of talk it through with them to be on your niece or nephew's side and just be
Right.
like, well, you know, actually, so and so and so.
Right.
And so I think that's really important, as kind of like that distinguishment between that parent and that auntie mode. I guess really just to kind of wrap it up, Tiva already said it. We know she the fun auntie. And I think you already established that you the mummy auntie.
Yeah.
But I mean,
The mommy, the
sometimes,
bougie
you know
little
what I mean?
auntie.
I can be the, you know what I mean, structured auntie, like when my cousin's kids were here, right? And child, it was like Wild Wild West up in this joint, right? And because my sister is so structured, right? And she, you know, runs things so structured. But she, you know, had just had a baby, you know what I'm saying, having a newborn. She's going through postpartum. And I understand, like, what she's doing with that. So she can't be as present to have the structure there. So I'm like, I had to come in, right, to provide the structure in that moment to ensure there was some order, right, going on, right, within the house, which is like, they can still have fun, but within certain,
Within
you know,
reason.
boundaries, within reason, right? And like finding that balance where I'm still the fun auntie, like I want you to be able, but then understanding in this moment, I kind of gotta be structured.
Yeah.
I kind of gotta make sure that there's, you know, boundaries there. And child, they turned around and they showed their whole behind, and I had to turn up. I went off so daggone bad. My post chicken, I felt so bad. Because he was like, his eyes are big. I've never raised my voice at him ever before. Like, I've never raised my voice like that before. So when that boy eyes was like, like, oh, TT serious. Like,
I mean,
yeah.
essentially, I think the takeaways from the, you know, from this episode is that, you know, being an auntie really just means being that support system, being like being able to show up, being that that surrogate parent, or, you know, being a trusting and a safe place for these children, to being ultimately that village.
Yeah,
That
for
village
sure.
that we as millennials, we got that, even just like
Yeah.
not outside of our family, but like it was really a village that raised us, and kind of like being able to translate that to the kids that we have today, because I think we've lost that village sense.
Yeah,
You know,
for
as a
sure.
community. And so still trying to uphold some type of way, being that auntie figure is really dope. And, you know, as a mom and as an auntie, I appreciate y'all.
Thank you, girl.
We appreciate the
Aunties
real
matter.
TTs. Yes.
Yeah, they
the
do.
aunties matter, uncles matter.
Yeah, they do.
Like, they really like are vital people. Like, I feel like in the rearing and upbringing of your children. And so, disclaimer: if my child addresses you as Miss or Mister, just know you ain't as close as you think you are.
Okay.
Yes, because real auntie, being an auntie is a thing, as we call it. And if you have an auntie Tiwa, if you got an auntie Tiwa, if you got a TT, you are blessed, because I am a real auntie. Even with my little cousins, like sometimes I'll take all of them. You know what I'm saying? I'll take all of them. Let's all do something together. I'm like, hey, I call. Let me borrow your kid for the day. Let me borrow your kids for the day, and we'll do stuff, you know, together to spend that time and, you know, have those memories. Because like you were saying, as millennials, we had that growing up.
Yep.
But I think that's the thing. Like today, like everybody's not in the same place anymore. Everybody's not in the same state, in the same
very
area.
true.
So it's harder to have those kind of childhood memories and experiences that we had growing up. So if you an auntie out there and you gonna be an auntie, and you gonna be make sure you being intentional about being an auntie,
And consistent.
and consistent.
And consistent.
Consistency matters. Don't be coming in and out them babies' lives. Nah, you don't do that, right? That's not okay to do to children. But just be intentional within, you know, your means, and try to create, you know, that experience, those memories, because just like those are the things that you remember as a kid growing up, that you
gonna
look
be what
back
they
on your
remember.
childhood, those are the things that they're going to remember when they look back.
I love that.
All right. So with that, sis, it is a wrap for this episode. Don't forget to follow us, like, subscribe on all streaming channels, Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and every streaming network. With that, bye. Bye, sis.
Bye, sis.